Hi, my name is Chris Ryan down here at the Belfry in the TaylorMade Performance Centre, and in this video we're going to give you 3 key things that you can check or focus on to help you square that club face down at impact, which is hopefully going to help you hit straighter shots. Just before we go into those 3 things, in the corner of the screen shortly you should have the details for my Facebook, for my Instagram and for my Twitter. Please make sure you go ahead and follow me on all of those. Right, so we are talking about squaring the face. Now, the terminology squaring the face isn't technically accurate because there aren't many golfers out there who require a club face which is perfectly square at impact. If your club path is slightly left or slightly right, and I would suggest that 95% of golfers fall into those categories, your club face does not need to be exactly square at impact. That would cause you to miss the target. It needs to be slightly open or slightly closed depending on how you deliver the club. However, for the purpose of this video, we are looking at those golfers who struggle with fade or slice shots, who feel that they leave the club face too open to their club path, and that's why they miss the fairways. This video is going to give you some things that could help you realign the club face and get that ball finishing closer to your target. It is not addressing the club path, so if you are hitting slices and your club path is to the left, what this video might do for you is control that shape and get you to hit more fairways. It is not suddenly going to turn this slice into a nice high draw. We would have to address far more issues to get that, but focus on the club face and getting it to be a little bit more closed at impact will hopefully help that ball finish closer to your target. So we're going to go through three things I should say, which are mainly going to be hopefully responsible for that club face being open, and therefore if we can address those, check those, we might be able to find a solution to your problems. Point number 1 is to check your grip. Now, it's really important that I want you to check your grip. I don't want you to suddenly go away from this and change your grip. Changing the grip may not help you square that club face more, but it might suggest some things that we need to do. Now, if we've got a weak grip, where for a right-handed golfer your top hand is rotated too much to the left, there's a very good chance that down at impact that club face is going to return open, and therefore we're going to finish that ball to the right of the target. I've got a pen on the floor. The reason I've used a pen is because it's going to be a little bit more visible for this video, but a T-peg would be pretty good if you've got one of those in your golf bag, which I would suggest you probably all have. You are going to take your top hand, you're going to take the T-peg of the pen and you're going to pinch it right between the top of the thumb and the index finger. Now, if I take my normal left hand grip, okay, and I'm applying my hand here in a weak position, so this isn't my normal grip, but let's say I applied my hand, and as I bring that club up to the camera, you'll notice how the T-peg, or in this case the pen, points forward of the club shaft. That would suggest to me that that grip is slightly weak, so my hand is rotated too much to the left. If this is you, we would like to get that T-peg a little bit closer to vertical with the shaft. Now you'll notice that the grooves on my club or the leading edge is vertical. I want to keep that, so I can't just simply do this because now the T-peg is in line but the club face is open. What I need to do is place my hand on the club in such a fashion where it's a little bit more rotated to the right, and now if I bring my hand up, you'll notice that the T-peg, in this case the pen, I keep saying T-peg, is a little bit more down vertically with the shaft. That is going to tell me that that grip is a little bit more neutral than one where this pen points in front of the shaft. Is this an exact science? Absolutely not. It's giving us an idea about where this hand is placed, and it's going to highlight some areas that may need improving. If you have taken your grip and the pen or the T-peg is about down the club shaft, that's fine. I don't want you to get too concerned with degrees and tenths of degrees. We're just looking at, is this going to give us an idea as to where the problem lies? Some of you absolutely will find that you take your normal grip, put the club up, straight away the T-peg points off to this side in front of the shaft. That tells you there's a weak grip. That tells that there's a very, very good chance of the club face being open. That might be something to check, and that's point number 1. Point number 2 is to make sure that we haven't got the club face far too open during the downswing. Many golfers that I see who leak the ball out to the right and hit those slide shots talk to me a lot about rolling the wrists or rotating the club or releasing the golf club, which are all impact things. They're all what happens down at impact. Many of those golfers, when we look at their golf swings in a little bit more depth, we find out that the club face is actually quite open a lot earlier than that. So they're trying to fix it down at impact when the actual issue is much earlier in that golf swing. So I've done plenty of videos on this. It is such a common problem, is that as a golfer starts down, they will often get the club head or the club face far too open. So you can see here that the leading edge of my golf club is certainly not near vertical, but it's actually lay quite a long way back, we would term that club open, or that club is rotated too much to the right. It doesn't necessarily mean the club face will be open at impact, but there is, again, a greater chance of it being open. So what is controlling this club face? Well, it's actually to do with your wrist angles. So we're going to talk about the lead wrist, but some of you may well find that actually the trail wrist is also going to be as part of your focus. So if I put my arm in this position here, this would be classed as a flat wrist, this will class as arched, and this will class as cupped. If your lead wrist is in a cupped fashion as you approach the golf ball, that would suggest to us that the club face is slightly open. So if I go down the line again, make a backswing, and as I start down, I start to cup my wrist, you will notice how that significantly changes the position of my club face, and that significantly increases the chances of my club face being more open to the path at impact, hence we hit the slices. So what do you need to do to check that? You need to feel, as you're coming down, that you are, if anything, starting to arch this wrist. We would tend to see more elite golfers with a slightly arched wrist during their downswing, rather than what we tend to see with many amateurs is a slightly more cupped wrist. It is very difficult to play consistent golf with a more open club face. We can get certainly some success from that. We can release the club early, we can bring the handle back, we can get that club face sort of where we need it to be, but it's going to be at the expense of maybe the ball flight, or maybe the distance, maybe the strike. So really quite important that if you are leaving the face open and you're trying to square the face more, we also look at how we are sort of delivering the golf club and how we are positioning the club face halfway into that downswing. So that's point number 2. The last point, and this really would be your go-to once you've checked those first 2 other points. We don't really want to change impact, or we don't want to change our release patterns until we've figured out that everything else is about neutral earlier on in the golf swings. That would be grip and club face position. Let's say, point number 1, your grip is good. Point number 2, you feel like the club face is in a good position, and you feel like your lead wrist is in a good position, but you're still feeling your club face is open. Then we can look at the release. Now, in terms of the release, what we do not want is we do not want this lead arm buckling this way, where I feel like the glove logo starts pointing very much out and away from me this way. So we would often see lots of golfers where they come through the impact and we get a little bit of this. This is often referred to as the chicken wing, where the elbow gets away from the body, the logo on my glove you can see points towards the camera, and that is certainly going to feel to me as if that club face remains open. Now, really important, I think, when we talk about the release, that we simply don't want golfers to start doing this, where I have excessively flipped the club face. The back of my hand is now pointing very much down at the ground. My right hand is very much on top of the golf club, and the club face is pointing down. Have I sort of rotated the club face more through impact? Absolutely. Is that the best way to play golf? Probably not. It's very difficult to control that. The best way for you to work on release is actually to feel like you just hit some little pitch shots that go 30 or 40 yards, and you are just feeling that you rotate through and the golf club is nicely extended with both arms pretty straight. What I haven't done there is I haven't intentionally rotated the club face, I haven't intentionally flipped my hands, but at the same time I also haven't buckled my arms, flexed my arms, which has caused the club face to be open. So if the face is open through impact, we want to work on a good release. We don't simply want to try and go the complete opposite and try and flip the hands, because what you might find is that will give you limited success, but you're going to find if you do that consistently and for a prolonged period of time, you're going to find that you got the same issues that you had before, but you're now down the left-hand side of the golf course as opposed to the right-hand side. So I want you to do a little 30-yard shots and feeling that, yes, we're not doing this with the elbows, so I'm feeling my elbows are squeezing together, and I feel like I'm rotating, going through, plenty of rotation here, arms are close, hands are extended. That is me squaring the face correctly as opposed to manipulating it with my hands. So if you feel like you struggle with those shots, those slices, those fades, those weak shots, there is a very good chance that the club face relative to the path is significantly open. We need to establish why that is. Is it a grip position? Is it a club face during the downswing? Or is it maybe down to your release? If we can establish which one of those it is, we may well find the cause. Key thing to this video, I don't want you to just dive in and fix all those things. We have to assess your golf swing first. I want you to try and have a look at those things next time you go to the range. Check the grip, check the club face position. You may find that one of those is where the issue lies, and hopefully if we can fix that, we can improve your shots and you'll play some better golf. Right, thank you very much for watching the video, guys. Much appreciated. If you would like to leave a comment, you can do down below. There is also a like button down there, and there is also a link to subscribe to my channel where you can get loads more videos for free. Right, thanks again for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.